There is no one in the entertainment industry that does not know who Chris Hemsworth is. His career in Hollywood has skyrocketed the handsome actor to the top of the A-list, and it now seems like he is everywhere, and we are definitely not complaining. Although he has starred in some of the biggest blockbusters of the past few years and is always in the spotlight, Hemsworth actually likes to stay very private and has gotten very agitated with LA and Hollywood life. There is so much more to the star than his iconic roles, so check out 10 things you didn't know about Chris Hemsworth. Before fame. Before hitting it big in Hollywood, Chris began his acting career by appearing as King Arthur in the series Guinevere Jones. He went on to have small parts in Neighbours, Martial Law, The Saddle Club, and Fergus MacPhail, before starring in the popular Australian soap opera Home and Away. This led to his appearance on the 5th season of Dancing with the Stars Australia in 2006, but was eliminated after 6 weeks. At the time, acting wasn't exactly paying the bills, and among other odd jobs, Chris once worked at a pharmacy cleaning the breast pumps that were rented out to new moms. Breakthrough. When Hemsworth finally moved to LA to fully pursue acting, it didn't take long for him to land a small yet substantial role. In 2009, Chris appeared in the opening sequence of the massively popular Star Trek reboot film as George Kirk, the father of James T. Kirk. He was then cast in A Perfect Getaway and Cash, and by 2010, The Hollywood Reporter named Chris as one of the young male actors who was pushing or being pushed into the Hollywood A-list. Regardless, he was flung into it after starring in 2011's Thor. He competed with his brother a little bit. Before he got the role of Thor, he had to compete with his brother Liam for a little bit. Both of them auditioned for the role of Thor. For some time, Chris even thought that he blew his audition, but when he learned that his little brother was auditioning for the same role, he understood that he had to get it. Chris told W Magazine, "I came in kind of with a little, I guess, motivation and maybe frustration that my little brother had gotten further than me. It's a little family, sibling rivalry sort of kicked up in me." Preparation to the role of Thor. To have the proper physique and muscle of Thor, Chris had to put on 20 pounds of muscle. And even though he keeps himself in shape all the time, regardless of the movies he works for, Chris had to gain weight for every other Thor movie too. And of course, that includes Thor Ragnarok. To look like the mighty god of thunder, Chris had to follow a strict diet, consume 6,000 calories per day, and exercise 6-7 times per week. If that sounds a little crazy to you, it clearly paid off. Because now we can't imagine anyone else as Thor except for Chris Hemsworth. He killed his performance and continues to do so. Thor. Aside from of course being Thor, it has been pointed out that Hemsworth was born on a Thursday, which is of course the day of the week named after Thor. It has also been pointed out that the last 4 letters of Hemsworth spelled the iconic character's name. Personal life. Speaking of, to the dismay of many adoring fans, Chris Hemsworth is in fact very happily married with children. He and wife, Spanish model and actress Elsa Pataky, had a somewhat whirlwind relationship, but it has been nothing but true love. They initially met through their American management team Roar and began dating in early 2010. They dated for 5 months before becoming engaged and were only engaged for 5 more months before marrying on December 26, 2010. They welcomed their daughter India Rose in 2012 and then twin sons, Tristan and Sasha, in 2014. Enough of LA. Initially, Hemsworth moved to LA to make it big, and after reaching such phenomenal success, he realized he no longer needed to be there to do his work. In early 2016, Hemsworth and his wife made the decision to move their family back to Hemsworth's native Australia, which isn't too surprising, given how negatively the actor speaks about Hollywood and LA life. LA is a tough place to get around with kids, there's not a whole lot of foot traffic, it was all about loading up the car and car seats. Here we just walk out the door and head to the beach down the street. It's a much more simple life. He added, "We were living shoulder to shoulder in the suburbs and thought that's not how we want our kids to grow up. Moving to a kind of farm setup back here on the coast in Australia has been the best thing." Famous friends. He may not be a fan of the hustle and bustle of LA or the paparazzi, but he has made quite a few celebrity friends. Some of his closest friends include his Avengers co-star Chris Evans, as well as his on-screen brother, Tom Hiddleston, who plays Loki, and he is also good friends with Sienna Miller and Matt Damon. For an article on The Star in 2014, a writer from GQ met up with Hemsworth to go mountain biking and found himself at Matt Damon's house. He wrote this hilarious anecdote about the actors and their friendship. "I follow Hemsworth inside, through the living room, into the kitchen, and it's only then that I realize I'm standing in Matt Damon's house. The giveaway is Matt Damon, perched on a countertop in his kitchen, sipping coffee as his family buzzes around. Despite the 13-year age difference, Hemsworth and Damon are tight, like annual family trip to Costa Rica tight. We became friends around the time I started to work, and I've really benefited from watching how he handles himself, says Hemsworth. Matt's just a normal guy who has the movie star thing figured out. And now Matt is our bike guy. What his mom thinks. Growing up in the Australian outback with two brothers has led to a lot of stories about how rough, rugged, and manly the Hemsworth guys are, but their mother says Chris is much more sensitive than he lets on. In an interview with Out a few years ago, Hemsworth stated, "My mum always used to say to me that, out of her 3 boys, Chris, you were the girl. I'd speak to her about far more things than my brothers would, and far more things than she needed to hear about too. I was a chatty kid." Hobbies. Chris Hemsworth is outdoorsy and loves being active, however, he has a true passion for surfing above all else. In a video with Surfing Life entitled "The Man Who Only Dreams of Surfing," Hemsworth revealed that one time his dad went out surfing and ended up surfing with superstar surfer Kelly Slater. Chris was so upset that he didn't go that he cried when his dad told him. Aside from that, he still says his favorite place in the world to be is surfing with his brothers in Australia. "Sitting on our boards out in the ocean beyond where the waves break waiting for the next set, you can forget about everything. It's a great place to talk and have a laugh.